going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. So it seems like things are taking a turn for this game. Now we got some numbers regarding the player base on the consoles. We got information regarding the devs essentially being under fire again, but this time it's taking a turn for the bad. I mean big time, because we're going all the way to Reddit. We're going back to the streams that they're meant to be doing weekly, so we got some weird things going on with that. And then lastly we have Miller surfacing back with a new updated DLC character release window, I guess you could say. So we got some interesting things to cover. Now I want to mention two things, and the first thing is, you guys know I do a giveaway with Instant Gaming every month, which I'm doing this month, where you can win a game of your choice. So all you need to do is click the link in the description below. But on top of that, you guys know I've started a second channel, and it's more pushed towards you guys with finance and so forth. But that being said, I'm going to be giving $100 away to 2 people, so if you want to get involved in that, it's regarding the second channel, then just visit the link in the description below, as I'll be choosing winners at the end of the month. And like I said, it's all regarding the second channel, so it's going to be some exciting stuff. But let's dive into the information, and I want to start off with the first thing, which is regarding Miller and his new update window, I guess you could say, when it comes down to these DLC characters. Now, a thing that I should probably point out here is, we know when Miller does his data mining and so forth, he essentially can, at least going on the basis of, I guess, how his tweets are assumed, it's almost like he can see progression, whether or not it's being made or whether or not it has been made, right? He can essentially see all of that happening to an extent. Now with certain characters, he said that I guess it just hasn't progressed, but that also being said, what he did post was this tweet, and it's a correction of how he now, I guess, believes the DLC windows are going to go. So now we know Kate Bishop is actually going to be first, and then it's going to be Hawkeye. But a new thing going around is Scott Amos, of course, the head of the studio, initially actually, well, we first of all were meant to have Clint Barton first, right? That's what we did know from the trailer. They clearly stated that that was going to be the first, I guess, DLC hero on the roster, right? But then apparently, as a fan perspective, he really did like Kate Bishop, and going on the theories and so forth, although there's no actual evidence, it's basically like Clint was almost finished, but then they just randomly kind of bring in Kate Bishop to then push her instead at the start. But nonetheless, what the tweet says, as you can see, is Kate Bishop, then Hawkeye, then of course Black Panther, Jennifer Walters, Bucky Barnes, Carol Danvers, then Peter Parker, and James Rhodes. Now this is very interesting, right? Again, going on the basis of Miller's previous, I guess, theories, assumptions, whatever you want to call them, this is definitely taking a turn for the better. Now, whether or not we're still talking about a 12-month period, unfortunately Miller couldn't really, I guess, say anything that's valid on that, because again, he's only going on the sources that he has and the data he's able to obtain, but other than that, more or less everything else is just a theory. So that's the first thing. I do want you guys to get in the comments below and let me know what you think on this. It's definitely safe to say though, the top 3 characters definitely going in order is Kate Bishop, Hawkeye, and then of course Black Panther. That is a no-brainer, but now it's just a matter of the other, I guess, DLC characters. But leave your thoughts on that in the comments below. Now the second thing I want to talk about is, I guess, the player number base, but on consoles. Now we all know these Steam numbers have been dropping like crazy, and nothing's really changing for that. However, one thing that we've all been trying to find out is how many people are playing on console. Now for me personally, matchmaking has still been pretty consistent, which is a good thing, because the second is not as consistent, that's kind of when you get the idea that basically no one is playing the game, right? But as far as that goes, it's still actually strong in some sort of perspective. Now there's a website that I'm going to link in the description below as well, that are the people that literally take a closer look at the Marvel's Avengers numbers. Now what it says is that they take a closer look at the only available source for their player base on console, which is called GameStat, or GamStat I believe it is, sorry, and that platform essentially uses an API that connects to PSN and Xbox Live, and this connection then creates estimates with a 10% potential deviation due to the statistical measurements based on the available data. Now, according to that database, as of now, the game has a total PlayStation player count of 2.1 million with 190k additional players within the last month, and it also can showcase that within that period 320,000 have earned at least one trophy. So these get counted as active players that interacted with the game to some degree. Now these numbers do not include players that haven't earned a trophy, and then on the other side, Xbox showcases a total count of 860,000 players with 90,000 brand new ones joining in the last month. Now, its MAU, which is the monthly active users, is currently higher than that of the PlayStation, of course, with 410,000, which is interesting if you consider that the total player base is higher on Sony's console, but overall, I guess you could say we are currently talking about a player base of more or less just under 3 million, let's say 2.9 something million, which I guess is still a good number. Now, this is where I want to go on to the final thing, and it's basically about the devs being under fire again, but this time, I mean, it's a little bit crazy. So, first of all, it kind of links to the whole situation and fear that we all have as to whether or not the devs would just be forced, right, not even out of choice, but forced to pull the plug on this game because of the direction it's going in. Now, we know that Phil and of course Andy, who is the community manager for this game, essentially do this live stream where they play the game and they kind of do a Q&A, but some answers don't really 100% get answered. Now, long story short, that didn't happen of course last week, and Andy did post a tweet stating that because he was expecting some new equipment to show up, which he didn't, unfortunately going to a new setup and not having that equipment, he's unable to stream. Now, this is where it all kicked off completely, because people took to Reddit and they were really being suspect about the excuse here. Now, I do want to just say that I genuinely feel sorry for Andy, because although we know the game's current state and so forth, Andy is just a community manager, he's doing his job, but unfortunately if you go to that tweet, there is just tons of hate underneath that, and I just think it's super toxic, right? Like, I really don't think that is a good way to go at all. And like I said, I genuinely feel sorry for Andy, because it's not his fault, right? Technically, he's just a community manager, it has nothing to do with him, he's just doing his job. But people are now saying that this is an excuse, almost like something what you would use in high school, where you would say to a teacher that your dog ate your homework or whatever it may be. So people are mad, people are very furious with this excuse and the fact that they didn't get a live stream. Now, also the speculation and the theory is now leading to they know they're under fire, right? Big time, especially this month. They have definitely got way more hate than they could have ever imagined. And it's sad because, again, it's all like toxic stuff in the community, right? But that being said, a lot of people are saying that they're just completely deciding to ignore that, hence why they didn't bother streaming and that it was actually an excuse. Now, although I don't know any of the situations, of course, just looking how Andy is posting the tweet, I'm just going to roll with it actually being a real situation, right? But I can see where people are now bringing up these theories and whatever it may be. But also they have been radio silent this month, so now it leads to the theory as of, are they meant to purposely be silent until we get to the War Table stream, or is it time to pull the plug? So guys, you make that decision in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next one, because that's going to wrap up this video here. So until then, have yourselves a ridiculously amazing day, and until the next one, adios amigos.